June checked his uniform one more time in the small mirror of his quarters. Today was the big day. After 3 years in deep space, the research ship Horizon would make humanity's first official contact with aliens. Not just any aliens, the Arachnid Confederation. All science officers report to the main deck, came the captain's voice over the intercom. June took a deep breath. As the ship's junior xenobiologist, he had earned his place at this historic meeting. He grabbed his tablet and hurried down the corridor. The main deck buzzed with activity. Through the massive viewing window, June could see it, the Arachnid vessel. Unlike human ships, which were bulky and practical, their ship looked like art. It was sleek and curved, with a surface that shimmered like mother of pearl. The ship didn't seem to use engines as humans understood them. It simply moved. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" said Captain Da, stepping beside him. "It's beautiful," June said. "Any new readings on how it works?" "Nothing our instruments can make sense of. It's like they're slipping through space rather than pushing against it." The communications officer called out, "They're ready to board, Captain." Everyone took their positions. Ambassador Hyun stood at the front, flanked by Earth's top diplomats. June and the other scientists stood behind them, tablets ready to record everything. The airlock doors slid open with a hiss. June had seen pictures from the early probe exchanges, but nothing prepared him for the real thing. The arachnids entered, 4 of them, each about the size of a small human. They walked on 6 legs, keeping their front 2 limbs free. Their bodies shimmered with iridescent hairs, and multiple eyes studied the humans carefully. The lead arachnid stepped forward. "I am Silkweaver, ambassador of the Arachnid Confederation." Its voice came through a small device on what might be its chest. Ambassador Hyun bowed slightly. "I am Hyun, representing Earth and all humanity. We welcome you and hope for friendship between our peoples." As they spoke, Jun noticed something odd. Every time the arachnids moved, he felt a faint vibration. Not through the floor. It seemed to pass through the air itself. He checked his instruments, but they showed nothing unusual. The meeting continued with formal exchanges of greetings and gifts. Then came the technical discussions. This was what June had been waiting for. "We have reviewed your technology," Silkweaver said, mandibles clicking slightly. "It is functional for a species at your stage." Ambassador Hyun smiled politely. "We're eager to learn and advance." Silkweaver's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. "Your propulsion systems rely on crude explosive force. Your communications are limited to basic electromagnetic waves. Your medical science still requires physical intervention." The translator paused briefly. "You are simple bipeds with primitive technology." A tense silence filled the room. June saw Ambassador Hyun's smile tighten, but her voice remained calm. "We may surprise you yet, Ambassador Silkweaver." The arachnid made a sound that the translator didn't catch, something between a click and a hum. As it did, June felt another vibration, stronger this time. While the diplomats continued talking, June quietly adjusted his tablet to scan for sound outside the normal human hearing range. The readings spiked when the arachnids moved or spoke among themselves. After 2 hours, the meeting ended. The arachnids returned to their ship, which departed with hardly a sound, slipping away like a soap bubble. In the post-meeting briefing, the mood was somber. "They think we're primitives," muttered one of the diplomats. Captain Da shook her head. "They have a head start of thousands of years. What did we expect?" When June's turn came to report, he hesitated, then said, "There's something about their ships, and possibly the arachnids themselves. They produce vibrations our instruments barely detect." He paused. "I think there's more to their technology than they're showing us." Ambassador Hyun looked at him thoughtfully. "Keep investigating, June. If they called us inferior, then we need every advantage we can find." As the meeting ended, June looked once more at the stars. Somewhere out there, the arachnids were probably laughing at the primitive humans. But June had a feeling this story was just beginning. 6 months had passed since first contact. June stared out the window of the new Interspecies Research Center in Seoul. The building still smelled of fresh paint and new furniture. Outside, the city continued as always, but everything had changed. Humanity was now officially part of the Galactic Council as a Class 3 developing species, the lowest rank for any spacefaring race. "Thinking about our status again?" asked Director Kim, joining him at the window. June nodded. "It limits us in so many ways. Trade, exploration, technology sharing, everything. That's why your work here is so important." Director Kim handed him a tablet. "Meet your new partner." She just arrived from the Seoul National University. On the screen was a profile for Minji, an acoustic engineer with top grades and several published papers. Her specialization was in frequencies beyond human hearing. "She's waiting in Lab 4, said Director Kim. June found Minji setting up equipment. She was shorter than him, with short practical hair and intense eyes that studied him carefully. "You're the xenobiologist from the first contact mission," she said. It wasn't a question. "And you're the sound expert," Jun replied. "I've read your paper on ultra-high frequency detection." Minji nodded. "So what are we looking for?" Jun played the recordings he'd made on the Horizon *. Every time the arachnids communicated with each other, I felt vibrations our instruments barely caught. And their ships move without any engines we recognize. The arachnids think we can't perceive or understand their technology, Minji said, adjusting her equipment. "That's why they call us tone-deaf primitives." "You've met them." 2 weeks ago. A technical exchange that wasn't very technical. They showed us basic star maps and called it generous. The lab door opened. An official from the Earth government entered, looking worried. "We just got word," he said. "The Galactic Council denied our request for better trading terms. Again." June's stomach tightened. Earth needed those resources. The Class 3 rating meant other species always got priority in trade deals. "They said we lack the perceptual capacity to handle advanced goods," the official continued, "whatever that means." After he left, Minji connected her specialized equipment to June's recordings. The screens lit up with complex patterns. "There," she said, pointing. "Normal instruments wouldn't catch this. The arachnid ships emit consistent harmonic patterns across multiple frequency ranges." "Could it be just engine noise?" June asked. "No engine makes patterns this complex. Look at the mathematical relationships between these waves." They worked through the night. By morning, they had isolated dozens of unique harmonic signatures from the arachnid ships. "It's like they're singing," Jun said, amazed at the patterns on the screen. "But singing what?" Minji wondered. Their work was interrupted when an arachnid delegation arrived for a scheduled inspection. 3 arachnids entered the lab, their legs making soft clicking sounds on the floor. "This is where you study our technology?" asked the lead arachnid, named Threadwalker. Its tone seemed amused. "How quaint." Threadwalker moved around the lab, looking at their equipment. "Your species is determined, I will grant you that." June noticed Minji watching the arachnid carefully. She had placed her sound equipment casually on a table, pointed at the visitors. "We're grateful for any insights you can share," Jun said politely. "Of course," Threadwalker replied. "Though understanding may be beyond your current evolutionary stage." As the arachnids spoke among themselves, Minji's equipment recorded silently. June caught her eye, and she gave a small nod. After the delegation left, Minji pulled up the new recordings. "Look at this," she said excitedly. "When they talk to each other, the harmonic patterns are completely different than when they talk to us. They're communicating on multiple levels," Jun realized. "Words for us, but something deeper for each other." Minji smiled. "And they have no idea we can detect it." For the first time since the Class 3 rating, Jun felt hope. If their technology uses these harmonics, then we might learn how their ships work, Minji finished. How they manipulate gravity and space. And maybe, Jun added, why they think we're so inferior. Outside, the sun set over Seoul. Inside Lab 4, a small team of humans began to unravel the spider's song. 2 weeks later, Joan and Minji had turned Lab 4 into their second home. Empty coffee cups and food containers piled up as they worked day and night. The walls were covered with printouts showing sound wave patterns. "Look at this again," Minji said, pointing to the main screen. "These aren't random harmonics. They repeat in specific patterns." June nodded, and they change when the arachnids perform different actions. They had collected recordings from 5 different arachnid visits. Each time, Minji's equipment captured sounds far beyond human hearing. What if? June paused, thinking. What if the sounds aren't just communication? What if they're actually controlling their technology? Minji's eyes widened. "You mean they use sound waves to operate their ships?" "Not just sound. These harmonics exist across many frequency ranges. Some are sound, some are electromagnetic, some are something else." Minji tapped on her keyboard, bringing up a new display. That would explain why their ships move so smoothly. They're using resonance patterns to bend space around them. "And why they think we're primitive," June added. "If their whole civilization is built on perceiving and creating these patterns, and humans can't naturally detect most of them," Minji finished. "We're like colorblind people in a world of artists." That night, they shared their theory with Director Kim. At first, he looked skeptical. "You're saying their technology is basically music?" "More like mathematics expressed through vibrations," Minji explained. "Their ships don't push against space. They sing to it." Director Kim rubbed his forehead. "If you're right, this could change everything. But we need proof. We need to build a device," Jones said. "Something that can not only detect these patterns, but reproduce them." "A translator for their harmonic language," Minji added. Director Kim looked worried. "The arachnids visit regularly. If they discover what you're doing." "We'll be careful," Joan promised. Over the next few days, they worked in secret. Minji designed special speakers that could produce vibrations across multiple frequency ranges. June programmed the patterns they had recorded. "Ready for the first test?" Minji asked, connecting the final wires. Their test subject was simple, a small piece of arachnid technology that had been gifted to Earth. It looked like a paperweight, a beautiful crystal that glowed faintly. June nodded. "Let's do it." Minji activated their device. The speakers emitted vibrations, most of them impossible for human ears to hear. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the crystal began to glow brighter. It rose several inches above the table and hovered there, spinning slowly. "It works," June whispered, hardly believing his eyes. Minji adjusted the pattern slightly. The crystal changed color, from blue to purple. "We're just guessing at the commands," she said. "Imagine what we could do if we understood the language." The lab door opened suddenly. They quickly shut off the device, and the crystal dropped to the table. It was Ambassador Hyun. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes. "The Galactic Council meeting didn't go well," she said. "They've denied our request for technology sharing. Again." "Let me guess," Jun said. "They still think we're too primitive." Ambassador Hyun nodded. The arachnid representative, Silk Weaver, was particularly dismissive, said humans lacked the sensory apparatus to understand advanced technology. June and Minji exchanged a look. "Ambassador," Minji said carefully, "we might have something to show you." June activated their device again. The crystal rose and began to spin, faster this time. Ambassador Hyun's mouth fell open. "How are you doing that?" "The arachnids use harmonic vibrations to control their technology," June explained. "We've built a device that can reproduce those vibrations. They think we can't understand their technology because we can't naturally hear these frequencies," Minji added. "But we don't need to hear them to use them." For the first time in months, Ambassador Hyun smiled. "This changes everything. How soon can you make a larger version?" "A few weeks," Minji said. "But we need to keep this secret. If the arachnids find out, They won't, Ambassador Hyun promised. This stays between us until we're ready. As she left, June looked at the hovering crystal. They called us tone-deaf, he said quietly. Minji nodded. But now we're learning to sing. A month passed. Lab 4 had been moved to a secure underground facility. The government provided more resources, and June and Minji expanded their team to include 5 more scientists. Today was the big test. They stood before their creation, a room-sized device they called the harmonic translator. All frequencies calibrated, said Minji, checking the final settings. June looked at the others. Everyone ready? They nodded. This was the moment they had worked toward for weeks. Minji pressed the activation button. The translator hummed to life. Screens around the room displayed wave patterns as the machine began processing all the arachnid recordings they had collected. "It's working," whispered one of the scientists. The main screen filled with colors and patterns, translating the vibrations into visual forms humans could understand. The harmonics resolved into structures, complex, beautiful, and full of meaning. "It's not just communication," Jun said in awe. "It's their whole worldview." What they had thought was engine noise from arachnid ships was actually layers of information, navigation commands, energy distribution, crew communications, and something else that seemed almost like emotion. They're expressing feelings through these patterns, Minji realized. Look at how these harmonics shift when they greet each other versus when they speak to us. The patterns when arachnids spoke to humans were simple, basic, like adults talking to very small children. But among themselves, their communications were rich, complex symphonies of overlapping frequencies. "We need to record this," Jun said. "We're calling it the Spider Song." For hours, they analyzed the patterns. They began to recognize repeated elements, signature frequencies that identified individual arachnids, harmonic structures that represented concepts like speed, direction, or power. "If we can understand it," Minji said, "we can reproduce it." She adjusted the translator to generate new harmonic patterns based on what they had learned. The air in the room vibrated with invisible waves as the machine sang in the arachnid language. That evening, Director Kim called an emergency meeting. His face was grim. "Earth's situation is getting worse," he said. "With our Class 3 status, other species are outbidding us for essential trade goods. Several colonies are reporting food shortages." "Can't Ambassador Hyun appeal to the Council again?" asked June. Director Kim shook his head. "She's tried. The arachnids block every request. They say we need to evolve further before we deserve more rights." Minji clenched her fists. "They think we can't understand their precious harmonics, so we're not worthy." "How close are you to a breakthrough?" Director Kim asked. June and Minji exchanged looks. "We can now detect and reproduce many of their basic patterns," Jun said. "With more time, we could create new ones." "But there's something else," Minji added, her voice softer. "Something unexpected." She brought up a recording on her tablet, one they had made that afternoon with the translator. She tapped the screen, and a strange sound filled the room. It was haunting, beautiful, rising and falling in complex patterns. "What is that?" Director Kim asked. "That's what their ship engines sound like when we translate all frequencies into human hearing range," June explained. "It's not mechanical at all. It's music," Minji said simply. "Their ships literally sing as they move through space." Director Kim looked stunned. "You're saying their technology is art and science together," June finished. "They don't see a difference between the two." As they talked, a message arrived from Ambassador Hyun. Director Kim read it, his face growing pale. "A Galactic Council emergency meeting has been called," he said. "A new species has appeared at the edge of known space. They're attacking outer colonies, including arachnid worlds." Minji read over his shoulder. "They're called the Void Eaters," Director Kim continued. "And somehow, they're able to disable arachnid ships." June looked at the translator, still displaying the beautiful patterns of the spider's song. If the Void Eaters can stop arachnid technology, he said slowly, they must be interrupting these harmonic patterns. Which means, Minji added, our research just became very important. Director Kim nodded. Keep working. Earth may need your discovery sooner than we thought. News of the Void Eaters spread quickly. Within days, reports arrived of 3 arachnid colonies destroyed. The attacks were swift and devastating. June watched the emergency broadcast on the lab's main screen. The Galactic Council had called all member species to help, but Earth, as a Class 3 species, was only given observer status. We can't just watch, June said, pacing the lab. Minji adjusted the translator settings. Then let's learn more about what we're facing. The team had been working around the clock. They had improved the translator to detect harmonic patterns from greater distances. Now they pointed it toward space, hoping to catch communications about the Void Eaters. Something's coming through, one of the scientists called out. The translator displayed new patterns, chaotic, harsh vibrations that clashed with the elegant harmonics of the arachnids. That must be from the Void Eaters, Minji said. Record everything. As they worked, Ambassador Hyun entered the lab with a tall arachnid, Silk Weaver, the one who had first called humans primitive. Everyone froze. Their secret work was exposed. Ambassador, June asked nervously. It's all right, Ambassador Hyun said. Silk Weaver is here officially. The Arachnid Confederation is requesting our help. Silk Weaver stepped forward, multiple eyes scanning the translator. You have been studying our harmonic language, it stated. Not a question. Yes, Jum admitted. We discovered that your technology uses complex vibration patterns, which humans cannot naturally perceive, Silk Weaver said. Yet you built this device to detect them. Minji stood straighter. We may not hear your frequencies naturally, but we can understand them with the right tools. Silk Weaver made a clicking sound. Perhaps we underestimated your species' adaptability. Ambassador Hyun cut in. The Void Eaters have destroyed 5 more colonies. The Arachnid fleet is struggling against them. Silk Weaver's body seemed to slump slightly. Their weapons emit counter-harmonics that disrupt our technology. Our ships become useless when they approach. Counter-harmonics, Minji repeated, looking at June. Destructive interference patterns. June nodded, understanding. They're canceling out your harmonic control signals. Precisely, Silk Weaver said, which is why we seek your assistance. As primitives, your technology does not rely on harmonics. Your ships might approach where ours cannot. There was a hint of desperation in the arachnid's voice, the first real emotion they had heard from any of the spider-like aliens. We'll help, Ambassador Hyun said, but we want something in return. Silk Weaver's front legs twitched. What do you ask? Equal standing in the Galactic Council. No more Class 3 status. For a moment, the arachnid was silent. Then it made a sound, a complex vibration that the translator displayed as a swirling pattern. The Council will consider it, should your help prove valuable. After Silk Weaver left, the team gathered around their data on the Void Eaters. Look at these patterns, Minji said, pointing to the screen. The counter-harmonics use specific frequency ranges. June studied them carefully. Ranges that disrupt arachnid technology, but what? Ambassador Hyun asked. But they're all within human auditory perception, June finished. Minji's eyes widened. That's it. The Void Eaters are using frequencies that humans can actually hear, which means we might be able to counter their counter-harmonics, Jun said, excitement building. We could protect arachnid ships. Ambassador Hyun looked between them. How? Minji played with the translator settings. If we can produce harmonics that cancel out the Void Eater's signals, like noise-canceling headphones, one of the scientists added. Exactly, Jun said, but we'd need to generate signals powerful enough to shield entire ships. A new alert appeared on the screen. More attacks reported, closer to Earth now. The Void Eaters are heading this way. Ambassador Hyun said grimly. How quickly can you develop this protection? Jun and Minji looked at each other. Something passed between them, more than professional partnership. We'll need access to an arachnid ship, Minji said. And human singers, Jun added. People with perfect pitch and vocal training. Ambassador Hyun raised an eyebrow. Singers? Yes, Jun said firmly. If human voices can produce the right frequencies naturally, then we might be able to save the arachnids. Minji finished, with nothing more than a song. 3 days later, an arachnid ship landed near the research facility. It was smaller than the one Jun had first seen, but still beautiful with its pearl-like surface. Inside the lab, 20 people waited nervously. They were Earth's top singers, opera stars, vocal coaches, and choir directors chosen for their perfect pitch and vocal range. Are we really going to fight aliens with singing? One of them whispered. Jun and Minji stood before them, tired but determined. They had barely slept since coming up with their plan. The Void Eaters use sound to disable arachnid ships, Jun explained. We believe human voices can counter that sound. Think of it as sound fighting sound, Minji added, like 2 waves canceling each other out. Silk Weaver entered with 2 other arachnids. They moved cautiously, watching the humans with their multiple eyes. Your plan seems unlikely to succeed, Silk Weaver said, but we have few options remaining. The singers followed Jun and Minji to the arachnid ship. Inside, it was unlike any human vessel. There were no buttons or screens, just smooth surfaces that glowed softly. The walls seemed alive, pulsing gently with light. The entire ship responds to harmonic commands, Jun explained to the singers. The arachnids control it by producing specific vibration patterns, which the Void Eaters disrupt, Minji continued. Our job is to protect these patterns. One of the singers, a tall woman named Yuma, asked, What exactly do we sing? Minji handed out tablets showing musical notations. These tones, in this specific order. They create a shield around the harmonic patterns. It's like singing a protective bubble, Jun said. The arachnids watched silently as the humans practiced. At first, the notes sounded strange, discordant. But as the singers found the rhythm, something amazing happened. The ship's walls pulsed brighter, responding to their voices. Silk Weaver's body language showed surprise. The ship recognizes your harmonics. Because we've matched our frequencies to yours, Minji explained. Just then, an alert sounded. One of the arachnids spoke rapidly to Silk Weaver, who turned to the humans. A Void Eater scout ship has been detected nearby. It offers a chance to test your theory. Jun felt his heart race. So soon, we're not fully prepared. We have no choice, Minji said, checking the translator readings. The Void Eater will be here in minutes. Ambassador Hyun, who had been watching from nearby, stepped forward. What are the risks? If we fail, the arachnid ship will be disabled, Jun said. If we succeed, we prove humans aren't so inferior after all, Minji finished. The arachnid ship rose smoothly into the air, carrying the human singers and the research team. Through the viewing port, Jun could see Earth growing smaller below them. Void Eater approaching, announced one of the arachnids. On the screens, they could see it, a dark, angular ship that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It's activating its disruptors, Silk Weaver said, body tense. The arachnid ship began to shudder. Lights flickered as the harmonic controls faced interference. Now, Jun called to the singers. 20 human voices rose together, following the patterns Minji had created. The sound filled the ship, beautiful and strange. Jun watched the translator screen anxiously, monitoring the harmonic patterns. At first, nothing changed. The ship continued to shake. Then slowly, the disruption began to fade. The human voices created a buffer, protecting the arachnid harmonics. It's working, Minji whispered, watching the pattern stabilize. The arachnid ship stopped shaking. Its systems returned to normal operation. On the screen, The Void Eater ship seemed to hesitate, then turned away. Silk Weaver made a sound that the translator didn't catch, a vibration unlike any they had recorded before. "What was that?" June asked. The arachnid turned its multiple eyes toward him. The closest translation would be amazement. As the ship returned to Earth, Silk Weaver approached June and Minji. "We believe your limited hearing range made you inferior," it said. "We never considered that it might actually be an advantage." "Sometimes limitations lead to different solutions," Jun replied. "The Void Eaters never anticipated human voices," Minji added. "They can't counter what they didn't expect." Silk Weaver's front legs performed a complex gesture. "I will inform the Galactic Council immediately. Your Class 3 status will be reconsidered." As the arachnid moved away, June looked at Minji. "We did it." She smiled, taking his hand. "This is just the beginning." Word spread quickly about the successful test against the Void Eater scout ship. 3 days later, Ambassador Hyun stood before the Galactic Council, with June and Minji beside her. The circular chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species. The arachnids held prominent positions on raised platforms. This was the first time humans had been allowed to address the full council. "The Void Eaters threaten us all," Ambassador Hyun began. "Earth offers its help in the form of a unique defense." Whispers filled the chamber. Many species still viewed humans as primitives. "What can a Class 3 species offer?" asked a large, crystal-like being. Silk Weaver stepped forward. "They have already proven their value. Human voices can protect our ships from Void Eater attacks." More whispers, louder now. A tall, blue-skinned alien spoke next. "How is this possible? Their technological development is minimal." Minji stepped forward. "It's not about technology. The Void Eaters use counter-harmonics to disrupt arachnid systems. Human vocal ranges can neutralize these counter-harmonics." "A coincidence of biology," added June. "The very limitation the arachnids once dismissed, our narrow hearing range, allows us to focus on frequencies the Void Eaters target." The council members looked skeptical. June couldn't blame them. It did sound unlikely. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A voice announced, "Void Eater ship approaching the council station." Screens around the chamber showed a large, dark ship moving toward them. It was much bigger than the scout they had encountered before. "Their weapons are charging," reported a council security officer. The arachnid representatives moved quickly, activating harmonic controls to strengthen the station's defenses. But the familiar flickering began as the Void Eater ship sent out its disruptive signals. "The shields are failing," someone called out. Ambassador Hyun turned to June and Minji. "Now would be a good time for your demonstration." Minji nodded and activated a device they had brought, a portable version of their translator. It connected to the station's communication system. "Ready when you are," she told June. June took a deep breath and began to sing. His voice was strong and clear, following the harmonic patterns they had developed. Minji joined him, their voices blending perfectly. The translator amplified and adjusted their songs, aligning them with the arachnid defensive systems. The council chamber fell silent as the two humans sang. Their voices echoed through the station, creating patterns of sound that flowed around the arachnid harmonics like a protective shield. On the screens, they could see the station's shields stabilizing. The Void Eater weapons fired, but the station held firm. Silk Weaver moved to a control panel and added the arachnid's own harmonics to the human song. The combined sound grew stronger, more complex. Now the station wasn't just defending, it was pushing back. The Void Eater ship retreated, unable to break through the harmonic shield. When the danger passed, the council erupted in excited chatter. Species that had never spoken to humans now crowded around June and Minji, asking questions in various languages. The head of the council, a wise old arachnid named Pattern Keeper, raised its front legs for silence. "Today we have witnessed something remarkable," it said. "A partnership between species that proves strength can come from unexpected places." Pattern Keeper turned toward Ambassador Hyun. Earth is hereby reclassified as a Class 1 essential species, with all rights and privileges that entails. Cheers filled the chamber. Ambassador Hyun bowed deeply, her face showing carefully controlled emotion. Additionally, Pattern Keeper continued, "We request immediate formation of human-arachnid joint defense teams. These Harmony teams will be our front line against the Void Eaters." As the council meeting ended, representatives from many species approached the humans, offering alliances and trade deals that had been impossible before. Silkweaver came to June and Minji. "It seems we were wrong about humans," it said. "Your species has much to teach us, and we have much to learn from you," Jun replied. Together, Minji added, "We make a harmony greater than either of us alone." Outside the station windows, stars shone brightly. Somewhere among them, the Void Eaters were regrouping. But now, for the first time, the galaxy had a defense against them, a song sung by the species once called Inferior. 1 month after the council meeting, Earth had changed completely. Arachnid ships filled the skies above major cities. Training centers for the new Harmony teams opened around the world. June stood on the roof of the Seoul Harmony Center, watching singers practice with small arachnid devices. The devices glowed brighter when the singers hit the right notes. "The London team repelled another attack yesterday," Minji said, joining him. She handed him a tablet with the report. "That makes 17 successful defenses," Jun noted. "The Void Eaters are getting desperate." Inside the center, hundreds of people trained daily. Some were professional singers, others just ordinary people with good pitch. All were learning to create the harmonic patterns that protected arachnid technology. Director Kim entered the training room, bringing a group of arachnids with him. One of them Jun recognized immediately, Pattern Keeper, the head of the Galactic Council. Everyone bowed as the important visitor approached. "Your Harmony teams exceed our expectations," Pattern Keeper said. "The Void Eaters retreat whenever they encounter your combined forces." "Thank you," Jun replied. "But they're still attacking in other sectors. We need more teams." "Which is why I am here," Pattern Keeper said. "The Council has approved your plan for a major offensive. Operation Harmony, the plan that Jun and Minji had developed with military leaders from Earth and the Arachnid Confederation. A coordinated attack to push the Void Eaters back to their home system. All resources are available to you," Pattern Keeper continued. "The fate of the galaxy may depend on your success." After the arachnids left, Jun and Minji gathered with their team to review the operation plans. "We'll need 500 singers, positioned on 100 arachnid ships," Minji explained. "Working together, they can create a harmonic field large enough to protect our entire fleet." "The training simulations show it can work," one of the scientists added. "But the singers will need to maintain perfect harmony for hours." Jun nodded. "That's why we've been developing the new interface." He activated a display showing a sleek headset. This connects the singers directly to the arachnid ship systems. It helps them match the exact frequencies needed. As they discussed details, Jun noticed Minji seemed distracted. "Something wrong?" he asked when they were alone. She sighed. "I've been analyzing the Void Eater communication patterns. There's something strange about them." "Strange how?" "They're not random or chaotic like we thought. There's a pattern, almost like..." She hesitated, "like they're trying to communicate something." Before June could respond, an alert sounded. On the main screen, a message appeared. The Void Eaters had launched a major attack on the Arachnid home system. "It started," June said grimly. "They're making their big push." The next few days passed in a blur of activity. Harmony teams from across Earth were transported to Arachnid ships. The combined fleet gathered near Jupiter, the largest assembly of ships in the galaxy's history. June and Minji were assigned to the command ship, where they would coordinate the harmonic patterns across the fleet. As they prepared to depart, Ambassador Hyun came to see them off. 6 months ago, we were dismissed as primitives," she said. "Now the galaxy depends on us." June nodded. We've come a long way. But this is just the beginning, Minji added. If we succeed, human-arachnid cooperation could change everything. As they boarded the command ship, June thought about how strange life was. Humans had gone from being called inferior to becoming essential, all because they could hear what others could not. The fleet moved out, hundreds of ships traveling together toward the front lines. Human voices joined with arachnid harmonics, creating patterns of sound that flowed through space itself. On the command ship, June looked at the stars ahead, where the Void Eaters waited. Whatever happened next would change the galaxy forever. Ready? Minji asked, taking his hand. June nodded. Ready. Together, they prepared to face the enemy with nothing but a song. The combined fleet arrived at the edge of the Void Eater territory. Thousands of ships stretched across space, an alliance of many species led by humans and arachnids. Before them lay the dark region where the Void Eaters had retreated. On the command ship, June and Minji made final preparations for what they called the Symphony, the largest harmonic convergence ever attempted. 500 human singers connected to hundreds of arachnid ships would create a single unified field of protective sound. All teams report ready, said one of the officers. June nodded. Begin the countdown. Throughout the fleet, human singers prepared. They wore the new interface headsets that connected them directly to their arachnid partners. Each human was paired with an arachnid ship, their voices and harmonics working together. Void Eater fleet detected, announced Silkweaver, who served as their tactical advisor. They approach in attack formation. On the main screen, they saw them, hundreds of dark ships moving as one. They're focusing their disruptors, warned an arachnid officer. June turned to Minji. Now, she activated the Symphony network. Across the fleet, 500 human voices began to sing. The sound flowed through the communication systems, creating waves of harmonics that spread from ship to ship. The arachnids added their own vibrations, merging with the human voices. Together, they formed patterns so complex and beautiful that the air in the command center seemed to shimmer with them. The Void Eater ships attacked, firing their disruptors at full power, but the harmonic shield held firm, protecting the Allied fleet. It's working, Jun said, watching the tactical displays. Our ships are unaffected. The battle joined fully now, with Allied weapons firing at the Void Eaters. But something strange happened. As the human arachnid harmonics touched the Void Eater ships, the dark vessels began to change. Their surfaces shifted, revealing patterns similar to those of arachnid ships. What's happening? Asked Silkweaver. Minji studied the readings from her station. The Symphony isn't just protecting us. It's affecting their ships too. In the heat of battle, Minji made a decision. She adjusted the Symphony patterns, shifting them from defense to communication. The human singers, linked through their headsets, changed their notes accordingly. What are you doing? June asked. Testing a theory, she replied. Remember how I said their patterns seemed like communication attempts? I think they've been trying to talk to us all along. The Symphony changed, becoming a question instead of a shield. The harmonic patterns reached out to the Void Eaters, offering connection rather than resistance. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the Void Eater ships stopped firing. One large ship moved forward, approaching the command vessel. They're responding, Minji whispered. The Void Eater ship sent out new vibration patterns. The translator struggled to interpret them, but eventually words appeared on the screen. Can you hear us now? The command center fell silent. Then Jum stepped forward and spoke into the communication system. We hear you. Why have you been attacking our worlds? The response came. Your songs were killing us. We tried to make you stop. Minji looked at the arachnids. Their harmonic technology. It must create frequencies that harm the Void Eaters. They weren't attacking. They were defending themselves. Understanding dawned across the command center. The war had been a terrible misunderstanding. The Void Eaters weren't invaders, but a species in pain. trying to stop what was hurting them. Through the symphony, humans created a bridge between the species. The singers adjusted their harmonics, finding patterns that allowed communication without causing harm. 1 year later, a great celebration was held on Earth. Representatives from all species gathered to mark the new peace treaty. The Void Eaters, no longer feared, had joined the Galactic Council,